The bigger companies get, the more complicated they become. Hi, and welcome to Fabulous Professional. In this episode, we'll be looking at the vocabulary to do with the different parts of a company. And then later, we'll be looking at how companies grow. But first, let's start with the different parts of the company. Now, recently, my housemate Steve was having problems trying to figure it all out. Are you busy?
I'm trying to research. I'm trying to understand different part of company, like headquarter, subsidiary.
I could explain it to you, but I think it's better to show you. Okay, let's go. The centre of Malaysia's economy, the Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange, known locally as Bursa Malaysia. This is a place where me and you can buy and sell shares in Malaysian publicly listed companies. All of these companies are Berhad companies, meaning they have more than 50 shareholders. However, not all Berhad are listed in this building. Some are privately listed, meaning that we cannot easily buy or sell. However, in this building is where we can find only the publicly listed companies. The next stop on our tour was Menara Maybank, or the headquarters of Maybank Group. And I explained to Steve that inside this building is where we can find all the important people in the company, the CFO, the COO, the CEO. This is where the board members come to meet and where we can find the main administration of the company. In addition to that, we might find investor relations, human resources. An example of one of Maybank's subsidiary companies is Etika. This is their insurance company. Now, it's a company in its own right, but the shares of it are owned by Maybank Group. Etika operates as an individual company. For the last stop on our tour, we head to one of 380 Maybank branches that can be found all over Malaysia. It's a branch. It can also be referred to as a sales office, because here is where the customer can buy Maybank's products or services, such as credit cards, bank accounts. Wow, that was exhausting, but it could have been worse. If I had used Berjaya as an example, Berjaya has dozens of subsidiaries and thousands of different branches all across Malaysia. We're all familiar with big business and big companies, but they've not always been that big. How did they grow? Well, there are two ways a company can grow. Organically, that is through marketing and promotions in order to increase number of customers and therefore number of branches, etc. And on the other hand, there is non-organic growth, and this means a company becomes bigger by buying other smaller companies. When it does this, it takes the assets and the customers of that other company. What are you looking at? Oh, I read about this. It's quite interesting. It's a Malaysian company, a new company, what we call a startup, and they developed software for Facebook. You know, when you first start using Facebook and you need to find your friends, so you enter your Gmail, your Yahoo, your Hotmail, and then there's this program that searches for all of your friends.
Yeah.
Well, that software was developed by this Malaysian company called Octazen, and Facebook wanted the copyright, the patents, and they wanted the staff. So they actually bought the company, and it was based in KL. So this is a good example for your studies of something called an acquisition. So this helps Facebook to become a bigger company by acquiring or by taking over, buying other little companies. So this company is now owned by Facebook, so it's been taken over. The nice thing is because they wanted the staff, so they didn't lay off any of the employees. They allowed them to either continue working from KL, or for some of them to relocate to California, to the headquarters of Facebook. So that's a good example for your studies. Actually, Facebook is a good example of a company that has grown both organically and non-organically. Organically, through new members every year, and non-organically through a series of acquisitions. Not just the Malaysian acquisition a couple of years ago, but more recently, one of the largest acquisitions, $1 billion for Instagram. I hope this episode has proved useful for you. Your comments and feedback are always welcome. So, until next time, bye-bye.